Hey guys, what's going on? Darren here, and welcome back to the preview and prediction series. This is a series where I'll be previewing and then giving my predictions for the upcoming Grand Prix. And this time, I'll be doing it for the Italian Grand Prix at the Temple of Speed, Monza. If you do enjoy this video, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more F1 content. I try and release at least 3 videos a week, and I also try and reply to pretty much every single comment I get, and I do look forward to reading and responding to your predictions down below. Before we get into the predictions for the Italian Grand Prix, let's first take a look back and review the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. And where do we begin? Because this race was absolute chaos. Red Bull and Ferrari started on the soft compound tyres, whereas Mercedes started on the more durable medium compound tyre. Off the line, Max and Charles got a good launch, and Lewis went for a dive down the inside on Carlos Sainz, but in reality it was never going to work out, and he in the end slotted in behind him after almost spinning out. Early on, it looked like it was going to be Max versus Charles for the Grand Prix win, as they quickly pulled away from Sainz, who was really holding up Hamilton and struggling on his soft compound tyres. But then Charles Leclerc also started to struggle on his soft compound tyres, and he started falling back from Max Verstappen. After this, Ferrari stopped Carlos Sainz, and it was almost like deja vu for Ferrari. Once again, they got the strategy call wrong. Sainz came in, but Ferrari were not ready for him to pit, and because of this, Sainz lost a heap of time to the cars that he was racing. Charles Leclerc stopped a lap later, and thankfully this time Ferrari were actually ready for him, and they put him onto a set of the medium compound tyres. After that, Red Bull stopped Max Verstappen, and they too put Verstappen on a set of medium compound tyres. A little bit later on in the race, Alpine decided to pit Alonso to go onto the hard compound tyres, and it was at this moment that I suddenly realised that Mercedes are actually in for the win here. The hard tyres on Alonso worked very nicely, and Mercedes, they decided that they were going to go for a one-stop strategy versus Ferrari and Red Bull, who were nailed onto 2 stops. As Red Bull were on a 2-stop, Max closed the gap to Russell and blasted past him to take second place, and then all of a sudden this race went from being about Charles Leclerc versus Max Verstappen to being Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton, and the 2021 flashbacks commenced. Lewis stopped to go from medium to hard compound tyres, and he came out behind Sergio Perez, and from there, Perez channeled his 2021 Mexican Minister of Defense and went all out to defend from Hamilton, and he did just that. But eventually, Lewis managed to muscle his way past with a beautiful move around the outside into turn 1, and the hunt then for Max Verstappen was on. But then something a little bit weird started to happen with Yuki Tsunoda and AlphaTauri. He stopped on track, but then he got going again and then went to pit, and after he boxed, he spent a very long time in the pits and then came out of the pits and immediately pulled over, and then the virtual safety car was deployed, and this was conveniently perfect timing to help the Red Bull team as well as Max Verstappen seal himself ahead of Lewis Hamilton by getting a free pit stop. But that was not the last of the madness that was starting to occur, because a few laps later, Valtteri Bottas then broke down and the safety car came out. Max stopped again, but this time for soft compound tyres. Mercedes were now 1-2 in this race, but then George Russell decided to box under safety car for a set of soft tyres. This meant that Lewis was now left out all on his own in first place on medium tyres that were a little bit older than Max Verstappen's fresh soft compound tyres. When the race restarted, Max instantly flew past Lewis, and Lewis on the older medium tyres struggled to get them up to temperature and then lost out to both his teammate George Russell and also Charles Leclerc. Once again then, Max Verstappen won the race, and the race was absolutely incredible. If for whatever reason you have not watched it, I highly recommend you go back and go check out the race, because I could genuinely dedicate about 30 minutes to what happened in that Grand Prix. Now to the preview. Monza is the temple of speed in F1. It is the fastest circuit in terms of race time, and it is the shortest race of the year typically. This is a circuit where the cars run the lowest downforce and reach their highest speeds of the year. There are 2 DRS zones, one down the pit straight and one at the exit of the Lesmos on the run into the Ascari chicane. The race distance is 53 laps with a circuit length of 5.793 kilometers. The fastest ever lap is a 1:18.887 by Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes in 2020. And the lap record is amazingly still to this day a 1:21.064 by Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari from the 2004 Italian Grand Prix. Pirelli will be taking the C2, C3 and C4 tyre compounds to the Italian Grand Prix, and due to the way that the circuit is, there's typically very low tyre wear. Not only is the tyre wear incredibly low, but also the pit lane is one of the longest pit lanes of the season, and the pit straight is one of the fastest straights of the season, leading to the pit lane loss time being one of the highest of the season. With all of this combined together, I believe it will be a very easy one-stop race for everyone, just simply going from the medium to the hard compound tyres, or maybe even the soft to hard compound tyres. In last year's Grand Prix, there were actually only 23 overtakes, which is actually one less than what was at Zandvoort last year, which shows just how difficult it is to actually overtake at Monza. With the cars being able to follow incredibly easily this year, that overtake stat might be a bit different though. The reason overtakes are typically difficult is because the cars already run very little downforce, and this means that the slipstream effect is very small versus at other races. Now to the top three teams, and firstly, Red Bull. Red Bull are looking on dominant form. Zandvoort was supposed to be a better race for their rivals Ferrari, but somehow Red Bull won yet again with Max Verstappen. That being said, he didn't have it all his own way, and Mercedes were there to fight the Dutchman, and they did that all the way to the line. Italy should be much stronger for Red Bull, which is pretty terrifying in some ways. Their car is an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. Given Monza is pretty much all straight lines with a couple of chicanes, they should be in a very dominant position, and I think with Max Verstappen, they might be just unbeatable. Next up is Ferrari, who are still just about second in the Constructors' Championship. This could be a potentially tough weekend once again for the Scuderia, as their home circuit is not one of their stronger circuits. The only chance they have is that they have to pray that Red Bull struggle at the slower chicanes at the Rettifilo and also the Della Roggia chicane. They should though be faster than Mercedes due to the fact that Mercedes is a very slow car in a straight line. But that being said, there is a chance that one of the two Ferraris, I think, gets beaten by a Mercedes, and not only gets beaten by a Mercedes, but can also get beaten by a midfield car like an Alpine, who I think will be very strong this weekend. Provided they do everything right though, one of the cars should definitely be on the podium. But as we learn by now, Ferrari don't typically do everything right. Finally, we go to Mercedes. Mercedes, for me, had an incredible weekend at Zandvoort. They were in a position where, if some bad time safety cars didn't occur, they genuinely could have been in a position to win that Grand Prix. Now, I don't think they will carry that forward to Monza. The reason for this is because Monza is all about straight line speed, and this year's Mercedes has, as far as I can tell, been pretty slow in a straight line. Although, all it takes is for Ferrari to go all Ferrari on themselves, and I do think a podium will be possible. Now to my predictions, and for qualifying, it will be Max Verstappen on pole position. With the hypersonic Honda straight line speed that the Red Bull has, he will be absolutely unbeatable. And in the race itself, I'm going to go with Max Verstappen to win the Grand Prix from Charles Leclerc in second place and Sergio Perez to finish in third place. For me, the top midfield team will be Alpine, although I should say I do expect a much stronger weekend from Albon in the Williams and also the Aston Martins, who seemingly have a more slippery car in a straight line. But that's what I think. What I want to know though is, what do you guys think? Please let me know down below. I read and respond to pretty much every single comment, so let me know, who do you think will be on pole position and who do you think will win the Italian Grand Prix? And as always, comment, leave a like, and if you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel for more F1 content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.